During the occupation of Poland, the nation organized one of the most sophisticated and extensive underground resistance networks in all of Europe. This clandestine movement was not merely a reaction to oppression, but a highly organized effort to maintain the sovereignty of the Polish state. Central to this monumental effort was the Home Army, known as the Armia Krajowa, which operated as the primary military wing of the state. This organization was far more than a collection of scattered rebels. It functioned as a highly structured force with clear, strategic military objectives. The Home Army operated under a complex chain of command, effectively mirroring the structure of a regular army while working in total secrecy. They maintained deep ties with the Polish government in exile, ensuring that their actions were coordinated with the broader goals of the Allied powers. The Home Army conducted high-stakes sabotage against vital German supply lines, effectively disrupting the logistical flow that sustained the occupying enemy forces. By targeting railway junctions and communication hubs, they forced the German military to divert precious resources just to maintain their own internal security. Beyond sabotage, they gathered critical intelligence for the Allies, providing essential data that helped shape the broader Allied strategy against the Nazi war machine. Their intelligence operatives risked everything to map German troop movements, providing maps and reports that were smuggled out through dangerous, clandestine channels. They also carried out targeted armed operations to disrupt enemy control, proving that even under the harshest occupation, the Polish spirit remained unbroken. These operations were often precise and surgical, designed to eliminate high-ranking collaborators or to rescue fellow resistance members from the clutches of the Gestapo. Every act of defiance, no matter how small, served as a vital symbol of national resistance, maintaining a sense of hope for the Polish people. The underground state functioned as a shadow government, providing education, social services, and judicial oversight to citizens living under the constant threat of terror. This clandestine network laid the essential groundwork for larger, more desperate confrontations as the war progressed and the geopolitical situation shifted toward the east. As the Soviet forces moved closer, the underground state prepared for the inevitable clash, knowing their fight for freedom was far from reaching its conclusion. The year 1944 marked a critical turning point, as the approaching Soviet front created a window of opportunity for a massive, coordinated liberation effort. The leadership of the Home Army faced a monumental decision: to remain passive or to launch a full-scale uprising to reclaim their capital city. The Warsaw Uprising was conceived as a bold attempt to liberate the city before the Soviet arrival, asserting Polish sovereignty in the face of history. On the 1st of August 1944, the signal was given, and thousands of resistance fighters emerged from the shadows to engage the German garrison in open combat. For the first few days, the city was electrified by the sight of the Polish flag flying once again over the streets of Warsaw. However, the German response was swift and brutal, as they deployed specialized units to crush the rebellion with overwhelming force and heavy artillery. The fighters of the Home Army found themselves trapped in a desperate struggle, fighting street by street and building by building against impossible odds. They utilized the city's sewer system to move between districts, turning the underground tunnels into a lifeline for supplies and communication during the fighting. Despite the lack of heavy weaponry and the failure of the expected Allied air support, the resistance held their ground with extraordinary courage. The civilian population of Warsaw became an integral part of the resistance, providing food, medical aid, and intelligence to the fighters on the front lines. Women played a crucial role in the uprising, serving as nurses, couriers, and even combatants, proving that the struggle was truly a national effort. As the weeks dragged on, the situation inside the city deteriorated, with food and ammunition supplies running dangerously low for the exhausted fighters. The German forces began a systematic campaign of destruction, leveling entire neighborhoods to deny the resistance any cover or strategic advantage. The uprising lasted for 63 days, a testament to the sheer willpower of a people determined to choose their own destiny at any cost. The sacrifice of the Warsaw Uprising remains one of the most poignant chapters of the Second World War, representing the ultimate price of freedom. While the uprising was ultimately crushed, it forced the world to acknowledge the immense contribution of the Polish resistance to the Allied victory. The legacy of the Home Army and the Warsaw Uprising continues to define the national identity of Poland, serving as a reminder of their resilience. They fought not just for territory, but for the very soul of their nation, proving that even in the darkest times, resistance is possible. The memory of those 63 days is etched into the history of Warsaw, where monuments stand to honor those who gave everything for liberation. The strategic failures of the uprising were not due to a lack of bravery, but to the harsh realities of a shifting geopolitical landscape. The Polish resistance had hoped that their liberation would be supported by the incoming Soviet forces, but political tensions created a tragic stalemate. As the uprising reached its final, tragic stages, the fighters knew that their efforts might not lead to immediate independence, but they fought regardless. The Home Army's commitment to the cause of liberty remained steadfast, even as the walls of the city crumbled around them under heavy bombardment. Their story is a complex tapestry of heroism, political maneuvering, and the brutal reality of war in the heart of occupied Europe during the 1940s. The intelligence gathered by the Home Army throughout the war provided the Allies with invaluable insights into the German secret weapons programs and logistics. Without the dedication of these underground networks, the path to victory in Europe would have been significantly longer and far more costly for everyone. The structure of the Home Army allowed them to survive years of intense pressure from the Gestapo, who sought to dismantle the network at any cost. They operated in a world of aliases and dead drops, where one mistake could mean the difference between life and death for an entire unit. The resilience of the Polish underground stands as a powerful example of how a determined population can resist even the most oppressive of regimes. Their efforts were not in vain, as they kept the flame of Polish independence alive during the darkest years of the 20th century. The Warsaw Uprising serves as a stark reminder of the human cost of war and the enduring desire for self-determination among occupied nations. Today, historians continue to study the tactics and the failures of the resistance, seeking to understand the lessons of this monumental struggle. The bravery of the individuals involved in the Home Army remains a source of pride and inspiration for generations of Polish citizens and beyond. Their story is one of profound sacrifice, where ordinary people took up arms to defend their homes, their families, and their fundamental human rights. As we look back at the resistance movements of Poland, we see a nation that refused to be silenced or broken by the forces of tyranny. The Home Army's legacy is woven into the fabric of modern Poland, a testament to the strength of the human spirit in the face of adversity. Their actions during the occupation were a beacon of hope, showing that organized resistance could challenge the might of the Nazi war machine. The 63 days of the Warsaw Uprising remain a central point of reflection, highlighting both the tragedy and the glory of the Polish resistance. Though the city was left in ruins, the spirit of the people who fought for its freedom could never be truly extinguished by the enemy. The history of the Polish underground is a vital part of the global narrative of the Second World War, emphasizing the role of local resistance. We must remember the names and the stories of those who served in the shadows, for they were the true heroes of the Polish struggle. Their commitment to the cause of freedom serves as an enduring lesson on the importance of courage, unity, and sacrifice in the face of injustice. The story of the Home Army is not just a chapter in a history book, but a living memory that continues to shape the world today. Ultimately, the resistance in Poland proved that the desire for liberty is a force that no amount of oppression can ever fully suppress. The spirit of Polish resistance found its most potent expression in the underground network known as the Home Army, or Armia Krajowa. This clandestine force operated in the shadows, coordinating complex sabotage missions and gathering critical intelligence to undermine the occupying German military infrastructure. Their operations were not merely defensive. They were a systematic effort to disrupt supply lines and weaken the grip of the enemy across Poland. As the war progressed, the Home Army transformed into a vast, organized structure, effectively acting as the secret state of a nation under siege. The culmination of this resistance spirit was the Warsaw Uprising of 1944, a monumental and tragic attempt to liberate the capital city. The Home Army launched this bold offensive to reclaim Warsaw before the Soviet Red Army could arrive and seize control of the region. It was a race against time, with the insurgents hoping to greet the Soviets as masters of their own city rather than as subjects. For 63 grueling days, the insurgents engaged in fierce urban warfare, battling street by street against the weight of superior German firepower. The city became a labyrinth of barricades, where every cellar and rooftop served as a potential defensive position against the encroaching enemy forces. They fought with immense bravery and tactical ingenuity, holding their ground while desperately awaiting reinforcements from the Allies that unfortunately never arrived. Communication lines were stretched thin, and the fighters relied on a complex network of sewers to move supplies and personnel beneath the occupied streets. Despite their relentless efforts, the uprising was ultimately crushed by the brutal occupying forces, leading to the near-total destruction of the city. The systematic demolition of Warsaw followed the defeat, leaving a once vibrant cultural capital in smoldering, unrecognizable ruins for the world to see. This tragedy resulted in a devastating loss of life, and remains a defining, somber moment in the long and complex history of Poland. It represents both the peak of organized resistance against tyranny and the harrowing reality of the political abandonment faced by the Polish people. The legacy of the Home Army and the sacrifice of those who fought continue to be honored as a testament to national independence. Beyond the battlefield, the Home Army maintained a sophisticated administrative structure that provided education, justice, and social support to the suffering population. They operated secret printing presses to maintain morale, publishing newspapers that kept the spirit of resistance alive despite the constant threat of discovery. Their intelligence network was so effective that they provided the Allies with crucial information about German rocket technology and troop movements elsewhere. This dual role of military combatant and civilian protector defined the unique nature of the Polish resistance compared to other movements in Europe. The decision to initiate the Warsaw Uprising was fraught with political tension, balancing the desire for freedom against the grim reality of military odds. As the Red Army approached the Vistula River, the Home Army leadership felt the window of opportunity to assert Polish sovereignty was rapidly closing. The uprising began on August 1st, catching the German garrison by surprise and resulting in the rapid liberation of several key districts in Warsaw. However, the initial success was short-lived, as the German command mobilized heavy artillery and aerial bombardment to systematically level the city block by block. Civilians were caught in the crossfire, enduring unimaginable hardships as food, water, and medical supplies dwindled to critical levels during the long siege. The resilience of the people of Warsaw during these 2 months remains a powerful symbol of the human will to resist oppression at any cost. International support remained limited, as the geopolitical landscape shifted and the strategic interests of the major powers began to diverge significantly. The Polish fighters found themselves isolated, fighting a conventional army with little more than light weapons and sheer determination against tanks and air power. Even as the situation grew desperate, the insurgents refused to surrender, hoping that a miracle would turn the tide in their favor. The eventual collapse of the uprising was not a failure of courage, but a reflection of the overwhelming disparity in resources and military support. In the aftermath, the survivors were forced into captivity, and the city was emptied of its remaining inhabitants by the vengeful German forces. The physical scars of the conflict took decades to heal, as the city was meticulously reconstructed from the ashes of its own destruction. Today, museums and memorials across Warsaw serve as reminders of the sacrifice made by the young men and women of the Home Army. They remind us that the cost of freedom is often paid in the currency of blood, sacrifice, and the loss of one's own home. The story of the Home Army is not just a chapter of Polish history, but a universal lesson on the nature of resistance. It highlights the tension between the idealism of liberation and the cold, hard calculations of international power politics during wartime. Historians continue to analyze the strategic decisions made during the uprising, debating whether the outcome could have been different under other circumstances. Yet, the consensus remains that the bravery displayed by the participants was an extraordinary act of defiance against a genocidal regime. The Home Army's commitment to the values of independence and democracy provided a moral compass for the nation during its darkest hour. Their efforts ensured that even in defeat, the Polish people maintained their dignity and their identity as a sovereign and resilient nation. The memory of the 63 days of fighting is woven into the fabric of modern Warsaw, visible in the bullet holes still found on some buildings. It is a living history that connects the present generation to the struggles and aspirations of those who fought for a free Poland. Every year, the city pauses to honor those who fell, ensuring that their names and their deeds are never forgotten by future generations. The legacy of the resistance is a testament to the fact that even when a city is destroyed, the spirit of its people can endure. The Home Army proved that organized resistance could challenge even the most formidable military powers, provided the cause was just and the resolve absolute. Their sacrifice remains a cornerstone of Polish national identity, serving as a constant reminder of the price paid for the liberty enjoyed today. As we look back at these events, we gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of war and the enduring power of human courage. The story of the Warsaw Uprising stands as a permanent monument to the bravery of those who dared to dream of a free Poland.